Rachel Reeves is incompetent, untrustworthy, uncharismatic, deluded, legally dubious and, by the looks of it, miserable. She's going to hike your taxes, she's going to make you poorer and she's running Britain into the ground. Here she was today.
At the budget last year, I fixed the foundations.
OK, well, the number of unemployed people increased by more than 250,000 already under her.
I put our public finances back on a firm footing, provided an urgent cash injection into our faltering public services, and began rebuilding our economy.
Rebuilding our economy? Rachel Reeves' speech today wiped £22 billion off the stock market. People are saying, oh, well, it's now gone back up. The point is, every time she opens her mouth, it costs us billions of pounds. Let's see the next clip, shall we?
The Prime Minister, the Secretary of Work and Pensions, and this whole government are committed to reforming our welfare state.
Stop, because Starmer U-turned on welfare reforms that would have saved about £5 billion a year because Labour MPs rebelled. The number of people claiming benefits has risen under Rachel Reeves.
I became Chancellor, I began to put that plan into action, stabilising our public finances.
Stabilising our public finances. Bring up the national debt clock. OK, look at it. I don't even know what that number is. I don't know how you say that out loud. I mean, seriously, the black hole has risen as well under her from 20 billion quid, which I'm not even sure it was to begin with, up to 40 billion pounds. But look, it's not her fault. She blames Liz Truss, tariffs, the world, foreign conflicts, Brexit, the pandemic, austerity.
Truss's disastrous mini-budget, £22 billion black hole in the public finances left by the previous government. Continual threat of tariffs. Inflation has been too slow to come down. The cost of government borrowing has increased around the world. And then a rushed and ill-conceived Brexit.
Well, what else is she going to blame? Oh, Venus wasn't aligned with Mars this year. Oh, no. You know, I mean, you need to look in the mirror, Chancellor, and blame what you see staring back at you. Regrettably, she went on.
Reforming our economy, ripping up the planning rules so we can build housing and infrastructure right across the country.
Build housing. One housing minister resigned after underpaying her stamp duty, and the current housing minister doesn't know how many houses he's building.
How many new homes have been built since Labour took power?
I don't have the exact. I'm not Wikipedia.
You don't have...
No, I'm not Wikipedia.
No,
I'm here to talk to you about policy.
This was the best line for me.
Bringing the brightest and the best to our shores with a new visa regime.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are the best and the brightest. She shouldn't even be the Chancellor. She was accused of exaggerating her LinkedIn CV. She wasn't an economist for the best part of a decade at the Bank of England.
Say that you'd worked at the Bank of England for a decade when in fact it was, well, it wasn't even 6 years, it was 5. I mean, that's exaggeration, isn't it?
Well, I worked at the Bank of England for 6 years, between 2000 and 2006. I was employed by the Bank of England, including I spent just over a year at the British Embassy.
Why did you say it was a decade?
Well, I think you're taking... it's one...
She broke the law by not getting a renter's licence to rent out her home. Now, that was illegal, even if it was inadvertent. I think there's a good chance that we're about to find out that she's lied to the public.
...of this Parliament, which means we're not going to have to come back for more.
Well, she said that she wouldn't come back for more taxes in the budget.
We've been really clear in our manifesto about the taxes that we won't increase. And we're not going to increase the taxes that working people pay, their income tax, their national insurance and their VAT.
Well, she said she wouldn't raise taxes on working people.
I've made an important choice today to keep every single commitment that we made on tax in our manifesto. I will not increase your national insurance. I will not increase your VAT, and I will not increase your income tax.
Well, she's in Parliament there, I think, saying that she will not increase your income tax. Well, that's interesting. What happens if you say something in Parliament and then it doesn't happen to be true? Oh, anyway, OK. All the news is that she is about to do that. That's what they keep telling us. That's what everyone's reporting, that she's about to do just that. Surely if she does, she will have misled Parliament. Do you not have to resign for that? Should you not resign for that alone? Labour know it's bad because they refused to call GB News for questions today. We are Britain's most watched news channel and have been for 4 months in a row. Instead, they called 2 random social media influencers who just asked really softball questions like this.
Abigail Foster.
How can you bring about hope to the young generation who can't get jobs, can't get houses, and are seriously worried about the upcoming budget?
Oh, well, thank you very much, Abigail. I've got a note here on how I'm bringing hope, and I can just read all that out to you now, so that's great. And another influencer who actually, according to his social media profile, looked very happy to meet the Prime Minister not that long ago.
Hello.
Hello,
nice to meet you.
see you.
Cameron.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Cameron, how do you want me, or Kazza?
I mean, Cameron works fine.
Cameron,
Or Cam,
Cameron,
whatever
Cameron.
works for you.
We're all friends. Chancellor, if you won't go for the good of the country, please go for the good of yourself. We can all see that you're not happy. And that wasn't a one-off.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
Go, quit, resign, put yourself out of your misery, put us out of our misery. But the good thing is, Rachel, that you haven't managed to cut those unemployment benefits, have you? So you can still carry on being paid by the taxpayer to sit around and do nothing.
Your personal data could be exposed right now without you even knowing it. And if you want it removed, use incogni.com/GB News in the description now and get 60% off an annual plan on us. Incogni reach out to the data brokers on your behalf and request that your information be deleted from their databases. And they'll keep sending removal requests to make sure your data stays gone. Sometimes your information ends up on strange, obscure websites that automated tools just can't reach. And that's why Incogni just launched their unlimited plan with a feature called Custom Removals. With this, you can submit any link where your personal information appears, literally paste in the URL, and their privacy team will investigate and work to get it removed. And getting started is super easy. Hit the link in the description, create an Incogni account, and tell them whose data you want removed. Grant them permission to work on your behalf, and then all you've got to do is sit back and relax. They'll keep you updated along the way. Incogni is totally risk-free for 30 days. If you try it, it's not for you, you'll get a full refund. So take back control of your personal data today with Incogni. Use our code GBNews at checkout via the link in the description, and you'll get 60% off an annual plan.
Let's get the thoughts of my panel. We've got Tory MP Esther McVeigh, we've got Reform Councillor Jamie McIver, and former Labour Minister Bill Rammell. Esther, I'll start with you. I mean, this has just been an absolute car crash. Do you think seriously she does have to go here? I mean, there's the serious questions about misleading the public, really, isn't there? Categoric breaking of manifesto pledges, if indeed she goes ahead with what's being floated.
Well, I think she's toast, and I think she looks like a broken woman. I'd say I don't think I've ever come across a minister, particularly a chancellor, so out of their depth. I don't think she can do the job. Like you said, she sold so many sort of lies, untruths, whatever you want to say, and she's in a corner. She's backed herself into a corner. I have never heard of a pre-budget meeting of which you can't talk about the budget. You can't talk about what you're doing, because you never can, because you can only talk about in the budget. But they're sort of holding this meeting to sort of break to the public that I'm going to break a manifesto pledge. And can I tell you, breaking a manifesto pledge usually means it's not only going to be over for her, but it will be for the Labour Party. I'll just give you an example. Lib Dems talking about student fees. It's over. We could go back in history. It's true of every party, but that is it. And I'm afraid she flew some kites, didn't she, the other week, trying to see could she get round, should we do mansion taxes, should we do taxes on driving, should we do taxes on saving, you name it. But they've realised recognised it isn't enough money. And the only way they can get enough money is by raising probably income tax without disproportionately, again, walloping people who own businesses, because you're not growing the economy there, you're shrinking the economy. Taxing jobs means you're going to shrink jobs, you're putting people out of work. So she's absolutely got herself in a corner.
Bill, your views on Rachel Reeves' speech today, then?
Well, what she was doing, and it's not unprecedented for a Chancellor 3 weeks out from the budget to start rolling the pitch, and we saw what happened with Liz Truss's budget.
Bill.
Hold on.
This is desperate,
No,
desperate.
it's
Going
not.
into number 10, please, Bill,
Hold on, Esther.
You're losing your own credibility by defending her.
We saw what happened when you don't roll the pitch with Liz Truss's budget. But look, the reason that she was rolling the pitch and the reason the government is probably going to raise taxes is fundamentally because of the reclassification by the Office for Budget Responsibility, who I think have got too much power and influence now, but their reclassification of productivity under the Tories has brought about a hit of 21 billion to the government's finances, and the government has to respond to that. Now, where I thought she was interesting today, she said, we've all got to make a contribution. And this might be unusual for a Labour politician, but if she was indicating that it's going to be a tax rise across the board rather than targeting the very well-off, then I think that's the right move. Because actually, if you look at
working people...
Yeah, but hold on. If you look at what's happened...
Yeah,
hold on. If you look at what's happened over the last 20 years, it's actually the well-off who've paid more taxes, whilst our comparison for people on ordinary incomes compared to France, Germany and elsewhere...
Yeah, but then it's a lie, isn't it? It's a whopping great big lie.
Well, let's wait and see what happens at the budget, right? Because, you know, one of the touted measures is a 2p increase in income tax and a 2p cut in national insurance. And that means that wealthy pensioners would pay more, landlords would pay more, but working people wouldn't pay more.
But hang on a minute, hang on. The reason we're in this position, you can blame the Tories as much as you like. I'm not going to sit here and defend them, but... Labour have got into office. They knew they were going to get into office. It became inevitable. Rachel Reeves was Shadow Chancellor for a long time. She shadowed many budgets. They have got into office. They have no plan. That is the biggest problem. And it is reckless. It is reckless to get into office and not have a plan. And then on top of that, they've got the audacity to criticise Nigel Farage, who just yesterday was talking about how we're actually going to inspire young people to get on
Who ripped up all his tax commitments.
No, Nigel Farage yesterday laid out a very innovative, exciting future for the British economy, something that the Chancellor could do at her budget. There's no vision, there's no enterprise, there's no innovation. All you see from the Chancellor...
She's just doing a blame game.
All the commitments...
You had no plan.
All the tax commitments Reform gave at the general election, they ripped up yesterday because they're not credible and they can't be delivered.
Rachel Reeves, and she's just doing a blame game now. Since she came into office, unemployment has gone up every month. Borrowing is up, debt is up, expenditure's up. And now we find out, because when she came in, she gave a load of money to the public sector without linking it to reform of any form of work that they were doing. And we now see productivity is down, which she did in the NHS. So please, she's added to all of her work.
She wouldn't have been anywhere near the cabinet in your day, Bill, would she?
No.
Yeah, I think she would. But look,
no way. Her biggest thing was, I'm a woman and doing this job, not my qualifications.
Esther, the reclassification by the OBR of productivity was the productivity that happened on your watch. Now, the real question... Hold on.
No,
the real question is, why did the OBR not deliver that verdict when the Tories were in office and unsustainably cut national insurance by £4 billion?
Can I just say, first of all, when you look at what the economists said, productivity went down in the financial crash of 2008, and then it's obviously taken a long time to recover. And then the big thing was lockdown, people not going into work. That was the biggest one. And then after that was what Reeves done with paying people much more money without linking it to performance increases. So it wasn't
why didn't the OBR make that reclassification before Jeremy Hunt's last two budgets?
So why do you think the brightest and the best are fleeing this country? Why are the brightest and the best fleeing this country? And I'm not just talking about the high earners, I'm talking about the innovators,
the figures
people
that have been quoted
businesses.
are about 0.3% of the millionaires who live in this country.
Look at the reality.
Yeah, that is the reality.
Brits are fleeing this country.
No, they're
the
not.
Talented entrepreneurs, the people that want to innovate in our economy because they have no faith in this government. And because of the way our parliament works, we're stuck with this government for a little longer, unfortunately, and people are fleeing this country to the UAE, to the United States.
By the way, when you say 0.3% like that, you do know, like 1% 1% pays 30% of the income. So when you say that, it is a lot of people.
Can I just say on that? So there are just shy of 250,000 Brits residing in Dubai/the UAE. They are by no means all millionaires. What a lot of them are is aspirational middle-class families.
Young people as well.
Young people.
Well, and it's not going to be a massive tax hike that takes place in the budget, is my prediction, in 3 weeks' time. But I tell you what, one of the other things that Rachel Reeves said today is no return to austerity. And as we move towards the general election, with this government having invested significantly in public services, I think your party, Esther, who are committed to fanciful £47 billion and yours, Jamie, £275 billion pounds, where are the cuts going to come from?
Expenditure were carried on going up. It was never austerity. It was a word. People were trying to get people to live within their means. Expenditure went up. So this whole thing about we're not going back to austerity.
Tell that to local councils who've had their budgets cut in real terms by 25%.
I can help you with this one. Look, the councils that Reform UK have inherited, the state of their finances, Labour and Conservative councils, particularly the Labour councils, are some of the worst. Just look at the London councils. Have you seen the list of all the councils that need extra financial support?
Why then, having campaigned last May saying you're going to cut council tax, are all your councils now saying they're going to put it up by 5%?
Unfortunately, Barry, you're showing yourself up when you say that, because you should know that, having been a member of Parliament and worked with councils and budgets, that in no way would any council know what their council tax is going to be next year. But more critically, we have cut
it's built into their published plan.
You know, I'd like officials and people in the council to go back to a 5-day week rather than a 2-day week, and that would get productivity right up.
There's obviously got to be huge question marks over credibility. We wait and see what Rachel Reeves' budget is actually going to have in it, but she is clearly rolling the wicket for something pretty painful. You know, not willing to take any of the responsibility herself. Do you not think? I'll just final question. Sorry, because we have to go. Do you not think she would have been better served, Bill, standing up and going, you know what? I made some mistakes. I whacked the VAT on private schools. That's actually had a detrimental effect. National insurance, that's not worked. We've got big levels of unemployment here. We've gone headfirst for net zero. We're not drilled anything in the North Sea for the first time since the 1960s. Norway have done 30 oil fields in that time. I know your bills are going up. We've made mistakes. I'm sorry. And I'm going to try. This is what we're going to do to get out of it. Should she not have done a bit of that?
So there was candour in what she was saying today, that the goalposts have moved and we're going to have to bring forward some tax rises. That was what she was clearly
but she blamed
implying.
Everyone else for it. She blamed Brexit. She blamed at one point. She just blamed the world. Right? And then she's blamed tariffs, she's blamed Brexit.
And that's true. Tariffs have had an impact on our economy. The OBR
she said she's doing it once in a lifetime. And by the way, it was the biggest tax rise on record, what she did. But this was going to be once in a lifetime, fixing the foundations. And all the things she's talking about now that she's blaming, she knew that last year. Things like Brexit has going on for 10 years. Everything she talked about, we already knew. So I'm afraid
we didn't know about the OBR. We did not know about the OBR reclassification on productivity.
We knew what the global factors were at the general election. They didn't have a plan.
We didn't know the OBR was going to downgrade the public finances by 21 billion.
They probably didn't know what a car crash Reeves was going to be.
Well, look, but watch this space. Maybe this is all part of some big grand plan, and we're going to get the budget. It's actually not going to be half as bad as anyone's saying it is. I mean, I'd be very surprised.
Going to have a tax reduction.
I'd be very surprised. I mean, yeah, we're one of the most remarkable bits of subterfuge that we've ever seen in politics. But hey, you never know. So there we go. But no, I think in light of the fact that it looks as though many people are going to be skint in the coming months, why not have a load of cash on us this Christmas? Here's how you can be in it to win it.